GTM Podcast Buddhist Knowledge Series. Blessing to Associating with the Wise Part 5. Varieties of Wise Ones and Illustrative Example. Hello everyone. We hope you enjoy our podcast so far. So let us continue from the last episode. We learned of how the Wise One is recognized and how to find our opportunities to associate with Him. So in this episode, we will learn about the varieties of the Wise One and some illustrative examples to help you see the benefit of associating with Him. Inner teacher and outer teacher. Frankly speaking, there are two categories of the wise: the outer wise one and the inner wise ones. The outer wise one can be subdivided into wise who are truly wise and those who are not truly wise. The truly wise start with the Lord Buddha, the Arahant or Enlightened One, and those who have attained the various levels of Buddhist sainthood. The wise who are not truly wise are those who are as wise as or wiser than us. Examples of these are monks who truly train themselves in meditation. Even though such monks may not be enlightened, they come up to the standard of a wise man. You should seek him out for association and familiarize yourself with his virtues. You can only gain from such association. As for your own parents, given that we are their children, we ought to do our best to associate with them. Sometimes we encounter difficulties, however. Sometimes our parents have the characters of fools. If this should be the case, then we have the duty to live in the same household, but with the utmost care not to let those foolish habits rub off on ourselves. If your parents drink alcohol, don't go prohibiting them from such behavior. It is not your place to do so. However, at the same time, you shouldn't go joining them in their drinking. If your mother loves playing cards, it is not good telling her to give up. Let her carry on with her gambling, but don't go joining in with her. Even though we know these are the habits of a fool, they are our own mother and father. We cannot ditch them. We must carry on living in the same household while taking care not to be infected by their foolish habits. The wise also extend to our friends and relatives who are a good example to us by their behavior. Even if they might not be right all the time, or they may not be as wise as enlightened person, to associate with them is still to our benefit. In the case of associating with the wise who are not yet perfect, the Buddha taught that we should concentrate on observing only their good points and mimics only these good behaviors. If that person has his fault, don't waste your time criticizing them for this. Because for as long as one hasn't come to an end of all defilements, faults and weakness will always remain. Don't go looking for people's faults. Look for their strengths and make the effort to instill this strength in ourselves. In the end, we will be like an ocean full of all types of virtues. Don't go letting someone's minor fault blind you to all their virtues. If you are only interested in people's faults, by the time you have picked out everyone's weakness, there will be only one good person left in the world, yourself. Thus, the wise in the outside world are those two types: the permanently wise who have rid themselves of all defilements, and the sporadically wise who still have defilements remain. Both types of wise ones are beneficial to associate with. You may have noticed that sometimes when we think of doing something evil, there will be a little voice inside that wants us not to do it. Have you wondered where that little voice inside comes from? Usually we cannot see whose voice it is, but if we meditate until our mind is much clearer, we will be able to see the wise one inside, who is the owner of the voice. Information, whether it be in the form of knowledge as a voice or the content of the dream or sixth sense, is transferred down the line from deep inside ourselves, like a baton between the runners of a relay race. It is for this reason that we must do two things. Try to find the wise in the outside world and find the best way to associate with them. If we know that anyone is a good example, then we should make sure we get to know that person. That way, the good character that makes that person a wise one will begin to brush on us as well. Secondly, once we have seen the nature of those who are good examples to follow, we should start to cultivate an inner self which has the same good qualities so that the self which is wise will manifest itself inside ourselves. If we already have an inner self that is wise, even if we don't meet any more wise people ever again, it will not matter to us because we have our inner source of wisdom from which we can draw the knowledge of our own inner teacher. And so, that is how do we practice to learn to be the wise, learning from that example. I'd like to tell you an illustrative example associating with the wise. There is a parable used by the Lord Buddha, is that of the leaves wrapping a perfumed fish, taking on the same perfume as the fish itself. Another one is the story of a red-bearded executioner saved by association with the wise. Once upon a time, there is a man named Tambadatika who was a former thief and served the king as the public executioner for 50 years and had just retired from the post. One day, he went to the river for a bath, intending to take some specially prepared food on his return home. As he was about to take the food, Venerable Sariputta, the chief disciple of the Buddha, stood at his door for alms food. Seeing the monk, Tambadatika thought to himself, "Throughout my life, I have been executing thieves. Now I should offer this food to the monk." So he invites Sariputta to come in and respectfully offer the food. After the meal, Venerable Sariputta taught him the Dhamma, but Tambadatika could not pay attention because he was extremely disturbed as he recollected his past career as an executioner. This mental disturbance did not allow him to concentrate properly. Venerable Sariputta knew this, and in order to put him in a proper frame of mind, he asked Tambadatika tactfully whether he killed the thief because he wished to kill them out of anger or hate, or simply because he was ordered to do so. Tambadatika answered that he was ordered to kill them by the king and that he had no ill will or wish to kill. If that the case, Venerable Sariputta asked, "What wrong did you do?" Thus, reassured, his mind became calmer, and he requests Venerable Sariputta to continue his sermons. As he listened to the Dhamma attentively, his mind became tranquil, and he developed the virtue of patience and understanding. After the discourse, Tambadatika accompanied Sariputta for some distance and then returned home. On his way home, he died due to an accident. When the Buddha came to the meeting of the monk in the evening, they informed him about the death of Tambadatika. When asked where Tambadatika was reborn, the Buddha told them that although Tambadatika had committed evil deeds throughout his life, because he comprehended the Dhamma, he was reborn in heaven. The monk wondered how such evildoer could have such great benefit after listening to the Dhamma just once. To them, the Buddha said that the length of our discourse is no consequence, for one single sentence of the Dhamma, correctly understood, can produce much benefit. This is the story for just one benefit of meeting a wise one. If we ever have a chance to meet such a person, do not let that chance slip away. Try our best to associate with such a person. He can show us the way, the path to heaven, just like Tambadatika has learned from Venerable Sariputta. In conclusion, Walking toward the path of true happiness, we must start by distancing ourselves away from a fool and associating with a wise person so that we can learn from him. But it is all? Of course not, because by associating ourselves with a wise person is not enough. We must also learn from him too. So how do we learn from him? Let's find that out in the third blessing. Expressing respect to those worthy of respect. Stay tuned. See you again next time.